Hot jobs, get your hot jobs. You know what I'm going into with that, right? How many of you get a hot job these days and just, I don't know, have to wait, get frustrated, find it to be a pain in the butt, but you know it's necessary. You know that it's profitable as well. And it's so very important to the relationships that are out there. But oftentimes, especially when you look at bar feed, you think, well, I got to run 10,000 of those. I got to run 20,000 of those. Changeover time is going to be forever. I don't have all the employees I need in order to make this work. Well, Edge Technologies has come up with a solution for you, which allows us to be more flexible and grab all the parts and different sizes and make that changeover from an hour to 5 minutes, more or less. But Dan's the man, and I know that rhymes and it's cliche, but he is the man. And he's gonna help us understand a bit more about how this technology from Edge Technologies works. Dan, it really is about gripping material. It really is about the flexibility to be able to change over quickly. And at the end of the day, we're all trying to make money. This helps. Invest a little bit more money, make a lot more money.
Sure. Well, this product is the FMB Turbo 565 Auto Adjust, and you pretty much hit it on the head. It saves you time, and in saving time, it can save you money, frustration, and everything across the board. Basically what we've done, and we've actually had this product out for about 10 years. It's a little ahead of its time, but it's really making a push maybe the last 3 or 4 when we are running into these things like, shortage of employees to change over guide channel sets. Hot jobs coming in hotter than they used to. Engineering coming down and telling your guy on the floor, switch from that job, pull this job off, go to that one. And not tomorrow, now. So this product, and we'll get into how, really amplifies and speeds those processes up.
I want to get into both of those things immediately because I don't know which one should go first. It's a chicken or an egg type of thing, is dive into the technology or the reasons why we need the technology. So I'm just going to ask you, you mentioned 10 years was when it was first released, ahead of its time, which I think is important. What do you think the transition from 10 years ago to today has created the desire that we're seeing now for this machine?
Sure. Well, one, it's a little more backed now. It's been out, so it's a little more accepted. However, the need is probably there more often than not. Maybe you had an extra operator who could take an hour 15 to change a guide channel out, and now that person simply isn't there anymore. Now maybe it's your programmer who has to swap job to job. Well, there's a lot more benefit to them doing their programming job rather than standing on the floor swapping out a guide channel set. So now simply by changing 2 parameters and swapping out a collet, you have a 5-minute channel or 5-minute changeover time, and now you're on to your next job. So that's really where that benefit comes through.
So let's find out how this works. How does this hour to 5 minutes, this mathematical superiority that's going to help us all do the hot jobs, become more flexible, what's the mechanics behind it?
Sure. So basically what it is we put in the max capacity guide channel set. So the machine's already set to run the max diameter that it can. What it does is it has a series of clamshells that adjust through the bar feeder, and all you're doing is changing 2 parameters in the controller and swapping out the bar feed collet, and you're ready to run your next size. Everything adjusts itself on center. The grippers adjust themselves, and the bar feeding into the channel itself all adjusts just with those parameter changes.
And this is just a couple of buttons on the keypad, right? And it really is as simple as you're making it sound?
Correct. Yeah, it's 2 keystrokes on the pad and a couple, Allen wrench and a couple set screws for the collet, and we're on to our next job.
Traditionally or historically, how does this normally work in a machine shop?
Yeah, so what it would be without the auto adjust system, it would be opening up all the guide channel sets and sliding out the sets one by one, which can be up to 15 pieces per guide channel set. It's keeping them organized, it's keeping them straight, it's making sure they go back in the same order, making sure all the sizes are still correct, and you've never overlapped your 38 millimeter and your 48 millimeter. It's keeping all of that organized, which can be done. However, it takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of understanding to do it correctly, which means quickly. Or ignore that, go with the auto adjust, and we're never changing out a guide channel set.
All right, and patience is something you just don't get to have. You got to practice it.
Yeah,
patience a lot of people don't have,
for sure.
And something like this is much more convenient. There's a couple of topics that I think I need to bring up for you, and one is about the stability of the base and the connectivity on the side over there.
Yeah.
And I believe you have a couple of collets as well. Did you want to show off some of those collets and also talk about the adaptation onto the machines and the reliability there?
We'll start with the collets first, so we'll do it with the mic. You can hold one, I can hold one.
Absolutely, I like the teamwork.
So That's a 1-inch swap to a 2-inch swap. So you are effectively going from this size to this size in 5 minutes. It doesn't take any more changeover than that. This is the only physical change you're going to be making to the bar feeder. It's pulling that off the pusher itself.
Wow, that's impressive.
And then to talk to your first point, with the auto adjust, you're still getting all the benefits of a standard FMB. It's still the only bar feeder on earth built on a cast iron frame. It's a 6,500 pound bar feeder without oil in it. It's the beefiest, heaviest, most dense, massive bar feeder created. And the steady rest on the front is the only one where the frame is actually built out to extend past the bar feeder. So that steady rest actually sits on a frame rather than just being hung from sheet metal, which is the approach that most bar V systems use.
Well, Dan, I really appreciate you spending time. For everyone out there, me personally, I pay for convenience. I go to a gym that does 20 minutes, that is equivalent of 3 hours, but I pay a lot more for it. If you can pay more or less 10 grand for all of these accessories, I guarantee, well, I shouldn't guarantee, but I probably can guarantee. I mean, we're talking 1 job, 2 jobs, 1 hot job comes in, that number is paid for. Why not have the convenience and the flexibility of working with someone like Edge Technologies? That's the summary for this one. Dan, you did an amazing job today. I appreciate your time, like always.
Of course.